It's easy to look at someone who's living their dream and think they just got lucky. That things simply fell into place for them, that the path was smooth, the doors opened easily, and the universe seemed to favor them. But the truth is, behind almost every breakthrough, there's a storm that nearly made them quit. There's a long stretch of time when nothing seemed to work, when the signs looked like dead ends, when even the light at the end of the tunnel seemed to flicker out. And that's the part most people never talk about. They celebrate the everything goes right moment but forget to tell the story of when everything went wrong first. The uncomfortable truth is, the universe often rearranges everything before it delivers what you've asked for. Sometimes the rearranging looks like chaos. Sometimes it looks like loss. And sometimes it looks like failure. You set an intention, you make a choice, you commit to a vision, and then your entire reality seems to fall apart. Relationships fade, plans collapse, unexpected challenges pile up, and you find yourself asking, why does everything feel worse after I decided to change my life? The answer is simpler than it seems but harder to accept, because your old life cannot coexist with the new one you're trying to create. Growth demands space. Transformation requires clearing. And what feels like destruction is often construction in disguise. It's the silent, invisible process where the universe removes what no longer fits, even when you try to hold on. Think about it like this: if you plant a seed, the soil has to break it open before the roots can grow. From the outside, it looks like the seed is being destroyed. But what's actually happening is birth. And that's exactly how the universe works with your vision. When you step into a new chapter, the old structure begins to crack. The shell of who you once were doesn't fit anymore. That cracking feels uncomfortable, even painful, but it's a sign that something is being born, not lost. But here's where most people turn back. When things start to fall apart, they assume it's a sign that their dream isn't meant for them. They take the storm as punishment instead of preparation. They believe the pain is a warning, not a signal of change. And so they retreat. They shrink. They give up just moments before everything starts aligning. The truth is, a lot goes wrong before everything goes right because life tests the strength of your decision, not because the universe is cruel, but because you are stepping out of what's familiar. And everything familiar will try to pull you back. Every doubt, every fear, every old story will surface. Not to break you, but to ask you one simple question: do you still choose this? When you've decided you want something new, it's not enough to wish for it. You must become someone new, and becoming someone new is messy. It's uncomfortable. It's emotional. It's confusing. There will be days when you doubt everything, when the vision that once felt electric suddenly feels far away. But these aren't signs of failure. They're signs of expansion. Have you ever noticed how life sometimes delays everything until you're almost ready to give up, and then, out of nowhere, things click? That's not coincidence. That's the universe watching to see if you'll hold your ground when it looks like nothing is happening. Because what builds unshakable success isn't what you do when things are easy. It's what you do when everything seems to be going wrong. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has walked through that storm. They've faced the silence, the uncertainty, the doubt. They've experienced betrayal, delays, mistakes, missteps, and the deep ache of feeling like nothing is working. And then they reached a point where something shifted. Not because the world suddenly got easier, but because they refused to give up. When everything goes wrong, something powerful is being built inside you: resilience, clarity, strength, a deeper connection to your purpose. These aren't just spiritual ideas, they're practical truths. The storm strips away the unnecessary, so when the breakthrough finally arrives, you're not just lucky, you're ready. And readiness isn't about everything looking perfect. Readiness is a feeling inside your bones that says, I can handle what's coming, even if the path still isn't clear, even if the outcome isn't guaranteed. When everything is falling apart, the gift isn't the comfort, it's the evolution. This is why the middle part of the journey is the hardest. Not the beginning, when you're inspired. Not the end, when it finally works out. The hardest part is the middle, when the excitement fades, the uncertainty grows, and your old world starts to dissolve before the new one fully forms. It's like standing on a bridge between who you were and who you're becoming, and the bridge starts to sway, but if you can hold your faith there, not blind faith, but grounded, embodied faith, you'll begin to understand something most people never realize, that the breakdown isn't separate from the breakthrough. It's a part of it. It's not a detour. It's the path itself. Think about every time in your life something big finally worked out. If you look closely, there was a period before that where things got messy. Maybe you doubted yourself, maybe people left, maybe opportunities fell through. And at the time, it felt like the universe was closing doors. But later, you saw how those closed doors were necessary to guide you to the right ones. That's how alignment often works. Not with fireworks and easy paths, but with quiet, uncomfortable unraveling. Because what's meant for you can't arrive in a space that's still filled with everything you've outgrown. And so, if you're in that storm right now, if things feel like they're crumbling, remember this: you are not being punished. You're being prepared. The universe isn't abandoning you. It's rearranging things for you. The silence isn't the end. It's the space before the beginning. Most people never make it past this point. They mistake the storm for a sign to give up, but the ones who keep walking through it, they emerge with something more than just their dream. They emerge with power. A quiet, unshakable power that can't be taken away. So don't curse the storm. Don't rush to escape it. Stand in it even when it feels unbearable. Because one day soon, you'll look back and realize this was the moment everything started to shift. When you're in the middle of everything going wrong, it doesn't feel poetic. It doesn't feel like a story of growth. It feels like a mess you can't clean up. It feels like standing in the rain without shelter, wondering why the universe suddenly turned against you. People say, everything happens for a reason. But when you're the one living through it, those words can sting more than they heal. You don't want reasons. You want relief. You want proof that the storm isn't for nothing. You want a sign that this pain is building something, and not just tearing you apart. But what most people don't realize is that the evidence usually shows up after you've walked through the fire, not while you're still in it. The transformation isn't visible in real time. It reveals itself in hindsight. You'll look back at this season and say, now I understand why that had to happen. But to get to that moment of clarity, you have to keep moving through the fog. You have to walk even when you can't see. When things fall apart, it's not because you're weak. It's because your old foundation isn't meant to hold the new life you're building. The cracks don't mean you've failed. They mean the old structure is giving way to something stronger. If everything remained easy, you'd never be forced to build deeper roots. And without deeper roots, even the most beautiful dream wouldn't last. We live in a world obsessed with quick success stories. People show their highlight reels but hide their valleys. You see the book launch, not the years of rejection letters. You see the wedding, not the heartbreaks that came before. You see the thriving business, not the sleepless nights spent wondering how the bills would get paid. The everything goes right part is what the world celebrates. The a lot goes wrong part is what builds the person capable of living in that new reality. When everything is collapsing, your mind will try to convince you that something is broken inside you. That maybe you're not capable. That maybe this isn't meant for you. But that's not the truth. That's fear talking. Fear dresses itself up as logic. It whispers stories of self-doubt, painting them as rational conclusions. But the storm isn't proof of your weakness. It's proof that your life is shifting in a way most people will never allow theirs to. There's a subtle, powerful moment in every transformation. The moment you stop begging for the storm to end and start learning how to stand in it. When you stop asking, why me, and start declaring, watch me. That shift is quiet. It's not dramatic. It doesn't happen with fireworks. It happens in small, steady choices. When you decide to get up again, to keep showing up, even when you don't have proof that it's worth it yet. Every time you choose to keep going despite the chaos, you build inner strength that can't be faked or fast-tracked. That strength doesn't come from books or quotes or pep talks. It comes from living through the unraveling and choosing to rise. It comes from standing in the rubble of what once was and saying, this isn't the end of me. This is where I rebuild. And when you rebuild, something extraordinary happens. You stop needing everything to go perfectly to feel safe. You stop waiting for certainty before you move. You stop needing permission to believe in yourself. Because once you've walked through a season where everything went wrong and survived it, your fear loses its power. You realize that your strength doesn't come from things going smoothly. It comes from your ability to keep going when they don't. Here's something few people admit out loud. The moments that look like failure often carry the deepest blessings. Losing the job that wasn't aligned. Watching a relationship dissolve that no longer served your growth. Facing rejection that forced you to aim higher. At the time, it feels brutal. But later, those are the exact moments that shape the life you were meant to build. The truth is, alignment isn't always gentle. Sometimes alignment looks like doors slamming shut. It looks like friends drifting away. It looks like opportunities vanishing overnight. But what's really happening is refinement. The universe isn't just giving you what you want. It's removing everything that isn't built to hold what you're asking for. When everything goes wrong, your character is being chiseled. Your energy is being refined. Your focus is being sharpened. You're being stretched into someone who can stand in the light without crumbling under its weight. Because dreams aren't sustained by wishful thinking, they're sustained by people who have walked through fire and still choose to shine. You might not see it right now, but this season is teaching you how to trust yourself more than the circumstances around you. How to build faith that isn't conditional. How to lead yourself when the path is unclear. And those are the qualities that turn ordinary people into extraordinary forces. Look around you. Every great story you admire has this chapter. The moment when it looked like the hero had lost everything. The moment the world underestimated them. The moment they stood alone, bruised, tired, but still breathing. That's where legends are born, not in the applause, but in the silence. Not when everything's going right, but when nothing is, and they keep moving anyway. So if you feel like you're standing in the middle of a storm you didn't ask for, this isn't where your story ends. This is where it turns. This is where the version of you that you've been becoming starts to emerge. Not because everything is finally easy, but because you decided to hold your ground when everything tried to shake it. The storm doesn't last forever, but who you become inside of it, that lasts a lifetime. It's what will carry you when the next challenge comes. It's what will separate you from those who give up too early. It's what will make your everything goes right moment even more meaningful. Because you'll know exactly what it took to get there. And when that moment comes, when everything finally starts aligning, it won't just feel like success. It will feel like arrival. It will feel like standing on solid ground you built with your own hands, your own faith, your own resilience. And maybe that's why the universe doesn't give us everything too early. Because it wants to make sure we've built the strength to hold it. There's a moment, somewhere in the middle of the storm, when you stop waiting for someone to save you. It's subtle at first. The world hasn't changed yet. The chaos hasn't disappeared, but something inside you does. The begging turns into breathing. The fear turns into quiet strength. And the question shifts from, why is this happening to me? To what is this trying to build in me? That moment is powerful, because it's where your transformation really begins. Not when the storm ends, but when your identity starts to shift inside it. Most people want transformation to look beautiful. They want it to come wrapped in certainty, ease, and clean edges. But real transformation is raw. It's uncomfortable. It's the part of the journey that doesn't get shared on highlight reels because it's messy. It's crying on the floor at 2 a.m. It's questioning your worth. It's being forced to let go of what you thought your life was supposed to look like. And it's in those moments that your real power is forged. Not the power to control everything, but the power to trust yourself when you can't. The truth is, you can't reach your highest chapter while clinging to your old one. A lot goes wrong because everything that isn't aligned with your new reality must be stripped away. That includes old beliefs, old patterns, old fears, even old versions of yourself. It can feel like losing everything, but what's actually happening is space is being created for what's real to arrive. This is where faith stops being an idea and becomes something alive inside you. Faith isn't pretending everything's fine when it's not. Faith is standing in the middle of the storm with tears in your eyes and saying, I still believe. It's the quiet decision to keep walking, even when you have no evidence that the path leads somewhere good. It's understanding that the universe often reveals its biggest gifts through what looks like loss. Look closely at your life. Some of the best things that ever happened to you probably didn't feel like blessings at first. A closed door that broke your heart. A person walking away when you needed them most. A plan falling apart that you thought was your future. And yet, those moments led you here, to growth, to clarity, to strength you didn't know you had. That's the hidden rhythm of life. The things that go wrong are often the same things that lead you exactly where you need to be. But in real time, it doesn't look like destiny. It looks like heartbreak. It looks like disappointment. It looks like failure. And that's why so many people give up too soon. They confuse the storm for the ending when it's actually the rewriting. The truth is, your breakthrough doesn't arrive when the world starts cheering for you. It arrives when you start cheering for yourself. When you decide that your vision is worth holding, even if no one else can see it yet. When you become your own anchor instead of waiting for someone else to hold the rope. When your faith becomes louder than your fear. That's the turning point. Not a moment where everything magically becomes easy, but a moment where you become unshakable. When the old patterns that used to break you no longer have the same power. When the rejection that once defined you now refines you. When the chaos outside can't drown out the calm you've built inside. And that's what this season is about. It's not just about getting through it. It's about becoming someone new in the process. A lot goes wrong because the version of you who can live in that. Everything goes right. Reality can't be built in comfort. They're built in the fire. They're built in the silence. They're built in the moments no one sees. People often say, if it's meant to be, it will be. But what they miss is that destiny isn't passive. The path to what's meant for you isn't always paved with ease. Sometimes it's paved with trials designed to mold you into the person who can carry that destiny. The dream itself isn't the test. You are. Your willingness to keep going. Your capacity to believe without proof. Your ability to trust the timing when the timing makes no sense. And here's something powerful: the moment you stop needing everything to make sense is the moment you start stepping into your real strength. Because when you trust without conditions, you remove the limits on what can unfold. You stop trying to control every detail. You allow the universe to rearrange things in ways you couldn't have planned. And often, what shows up is far better than what you were desperately trying to hold on to. That's why a lot goes wrong first. Because you're being pulled out of alignment with what's small, so you can rise into what's big. Because the universe knows what you asked for, and it also knows what can't come with you. That might be a version of yourself that settles, a belief that says you're not enough, a relationship built on fear, a path that isn't truly yours. These things must fall away, not to hurt you but to free you. At first you'll try to hold on. You'll fight for the familiar even when it's hurting you. That's human. But eventually something shifts. You start to release the need to control the storm, and instead learn how to trust your ability to stand through it. You stop trying to force the puzzle pieces and start allowing the picture to reveal itself. And it's in that surrender, not a surrender of defeat but of trust, that everything slowly begins to align, not perfectly, not instantly, but piece by piece, day by day, the fog starts to lift. You start noticing the small signs you once missed, the quiet opportunities that were waiting for you to be ready, the doors that only open when you stop banging on the wrong ones. This isn't just mindset talk. It's a truth that has played out in countless lives. Every great rise has a chapter of unraveling before it. Every hero's story has a moment where they almost quit. Everything goes right moment was built on a foundation of everything going wrong first. And that's not bad news. That's your reassurance. It means where you are isn't the end, it's the becoming. So when it all feels heavy, when nothing seems to make sense, remind yourself of this: the chaos is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of transition, and transitions are always messy before they're clear. The storm isn't here to break you. It's here to strip away what was never truly you, so what is you can finally rise. There's something extraordinary that happens after the storm. It doesn't always come with loud celebrations or dramatic endings. Sometimes it arrives quietly, almost like a whisper. One day, you realize you're no longer waking up with that tight feeling in your chest. One day, you notice that what used to make you anxious doesn't have the same grip anymore. One day, you look at the pieces that once felt shattered and see how they've rearranged themselves into something new, something better. That's the part of the journey no one can fully explain, because only you will know how many nights you spent holding on when it felt impossible. Only you will know the strength it took to keep walking when the path made no sense. Only you will understand the quiet victories you won when no one was watching. And when things finally begin to go right, it won't just feel like success. It'll feel like freedom. It'll feel like becoming everything the storm was preparing you for. The most powerful moments in life don't come when the world validates you. They come when you validate yourself. When you realize the person who made it through the storm is stronger, wiser, and more grounded than the person who entered it. The external results are beautiful, but they're not the real reward. The real reward is the version of you that emerged from the chaos unshakable. A lot goes wrong before everything goes right because you're being forged. Not gently molded, but forged like steel in fire. Life doesn't give its deepest transformations through ease. It gives them through pressure, through intensity, through moments that test everything you think you know about yourself. But here's the beauty: pressure doesn't destroy what's real. It reveals it. It burns away the illusion, the smallness, the fear. It leaves behind something pure, powerful, and real. When things finally align, it won't be because the world suddenly became easy. It'll be because you've become someone who can meet the world differently. Your energy will shift, your presence will deepen, and life will respond to that energy. Opportunities that once passed you by will now recognize your frequency. People who once underestimated you will witness your rise in quiet awe. But here's something important: when everything goes right, it won't erase what went wrong. It will give it meaning. Every detour, every heartbreak, every sleepless night will weave itself into the fabric of your strength. What once felt like punishment will reveal itself as preparation. What once felt like an ending will be remembered as the beginning. You'll look back at the moments when everything fell apart and say, "That was where I found myself." Because the storm didn't just break the pieces. It showed you which ones mattered. It stripped away the noise so the real you could finally speak. It forced you to trust yourself when there was nothing left to lean on. And that kind of strength doesn't fade when the sun comes out. It becomes part of you. Think about this. If everything went right from the start, you would have never learned who you are. You would have never discovered how deeply you can endure. You would have never met the version of yourself that stands tall in silence. And that version is priceless. It's what carries you through every season after this. A lot goes wrong before everything goes right, not to scare you, but to prepare you for the magnitude of what's coming. The universe isn't trying to break you down. It's trying to build you up without the weight of what doesn't belong. The breakdown isn't punishment. It's alignment. And the alignment doesn't just bring things to you. It brings you to yourself. One day, you'll tell the story of this chapter. And when you do, your voice won't shake anymore. You'll speak with power, with certainty, with calm. You'll talk about the nights you almost gave up, the moments you doubted everything, the pain that felt endless, and then you'll smile. Because those were the nights that made you. Those were the moments when everything was being rearranged for your rise. And here's the thing. You won't just be grateful for the victories. You'll be grateful for the storm too. Not because it was easy, but because it made the victory meaningful. If it had been smooth, it wouldn't have shaped you. If it had been instant, it wouldn't have transformed you. And without transformation, even the best, everything goes right, moment wouldn't feel whole. This is why patience matters. This is why trust matters. Because when everything seems to be falling apart, it's not the end. It's the stretching before the arrival, the tightening before the release, the silence before the song. And when the moment finally comes, the moment things start to fall into place, it won't feel like a miracle you stumbled upon. It'll feel like a reality you grew into. You'll stand on solid ground, not by chance, but because you built it. Every wrong turn was a lesson. Every heartbreak was a sharpening. Every delay was divine timing. There will be people who look at your rise and call it overnight. They won't see the nights you spent in doubt, the quiet hours you kept believing, the tears you turned into fuel. But you'll know. You'll know that your strength wasn't born in the spotlight. It was born in the shadows, where everything was going wrong. So if you're still in that storm now, hold on. If you're still in the part of the story where the pieces don't make sense, breathe. You are not lost. You are being refined. You are not forgotten. You are being guided. And the path that looks broken isn't broken. It's being rewritten for your highest good. There will come a day when you wake up and realize you're living the reality you once begged for. A day when the weight you're carrying now will become the wisdom you share. A day when you'll look around and understand why it had to happen this way. Until that day comes, keep going. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Keep walking through the storm. Keep showing up when no one's watching. Keep believing in the version of you that's already waiting on the other side. Because everything that's going wrong isn't here to bury you. It's here to build you. To make sure that when everything finally goes right, you'll be ready. Not fragile, not doubtful, ready to hold it, ready to own it, ready to live it fully. So let the storm shape you. Let the losses teach you. Let the silence strengthen you. Because when everything finally falls into place, and it won't just be about the destination. It'll be about the power, the depth, and the unshakable strength of the person who arrived there. And that person is you.